Okay, so now for types of characters, part 2. So we're focusing on static versus dynamic characters. So static means to show little to no change, whereas dynamic means relating to energy or objects in motion and changing. So you can tell right away what they're really going to be about. So static characters are characters that don't change throughout the story. They essentially remain the same from the beginning to the end and are usually supporting characters. Dynamic characters are characters that have an important change take place, and the changes are usually within themselves, like a change in understanding or values. Usually it's a fully developed character and usually our protagonist. Now, after watching that Shrek clip and learning the difference between static and dynamic, which character in that clip is static and which one is dynamic? Now, when you're doing your character analysis for the mastery paragraph, again, it would be good to be able to describe flat versus round, but I think it'd be even more worth your effort to be using the vocabulary academic language static versus dynamic. Now, is there a difference between static and flat, or dynamic and round? There's a huge difference. I think flat and round characters are more surface level indicators and are more elementary. You would use explicitly stated evidence in the text to support what you're talking about, whereas to define a character as static or dynamic, you would really have to go deeper into the analysis of the character. So how do we go deeper? Again, remember, I know I'm going kind of fast, but pause the video as you need to go back and take notes whenever. So how do you dive deeper? Well, you have to be careful about how you identify dynamic or static. You can't just say they have a dynamic personality. I want you to be specific about stating what it is about their character trait or what their character trait is that makes them dynamic or static. And it goes more into looking about at the changes that happen or the lack of changes that happen in the story. So you could say that a character is a mover and a shaker, which could be dynamic. But if that character is a mover and a shaker throughout the entire story, then it's actually a static character because they don't change. And again, you could say a character is maybe inspiring or magnetic, has a magnetic personality, which could be a dynamic character trait, but it only becomes dynamic if they change, are not that way at the beginning and become magnetic, or maybe they stop being that way. Think about Stargirl and Leo, or Stargirl specifically in the book Stargirl. Would you say she's dynamic? For sure, because she has a magnetic personality at the beginning of the novel, but Leo kind of forces her into rethinking her whole personality and the way she is at school in order to fit in with the group. So that's kind of what I want you to start thinking about, is does it change or not change, and delve deeper into identifying what the character traits are of that particular character. So how do you find a character trait? Well, I would like for you to go ahead and pause the video and take a look at the PDF that I embedded below from the readwritethink.org website. Write down some notes on their tips and tricks about how to identify character traits. I'd like about 4 to 5 tips. So pause the video and then come back to this instructional video before you do the digital whisk, because I'm not entirely done. Okay, so how does it help you to identify dynamic versus static characters and character traits in your proficiency? Well, it will help you in finding quotes and explaining your character's development over the course of the next few weeks. These are the first couple of pages in your proficiency packet, and it will also help you in one of your mastery analysis paragraphs. So, it's going to help you on these pages, the first 4 pages. And it will also help you on this page, the character analysis, character conflict, paragraph analysis. So 2 different areas of the test or the packet that it can definitely help you on. Now, it's true in this mastery paragraph you're asking or being asked to look at character conflict, but I think it will really help for you to be able to identify if it's a dynamic or static character and why you think that, in order to help you identify the character conflict. Whew, all right, that was intense. A lot of back and forth. Hopefully you were able to follow what I wanted you to do. Fill out the whisk and submit it, and you're going to be all done. Thank you, guys. Hopefully you learned a lot about the difference between different types of characters in a novel.